breaking the basic laws of physics or even using food pieces as weapons, these are 100 LEGO sets that break all the rules.
Some of the mistakes, like the Ninjago official guidebook's early Zane minifigure design, provide interesting insights into the development process, but also show that things don't always go according to plan. On the other hand, a mix-up between the Slevin and Chope minifigures in Dojo Showdown revealed how easy it is to confuse characters that look alike. Attention to detail could have saved the day there. And let's not forget about Ninjago City. The box artwork had a placeholder label of Kai left by accident near his minifigure's image. While minor, it was just another little oversight that disrupted the polished presentation LEGO usually aims for. Meanwhile, in Water Strider, the promotional images showed an incomplete model with missing bricks on one of its legs. Yikes! Not quite the high-quality finish fans expect from LEGO. Take, for example, the Kai's mech jet. In promotional artwork, a red clip piece was shown as gray, causing a little confusion between what was advertised and what was actually included. Then, there's the Ninjago Source Dragon of Motion, where 3 elements appear in Step 514, though they are only officially required in Step 515, thus leading to minor confusion for builders. One of the more eyebrow-raising issues happened with the Ninjago Gamers Market, where the instruction booklet lists a translucent yellow kitana, Ninjago's term for katanas, that isn't needed in the set since it uses a pink kitana instead. In Ninjago Fire Mech, the box art featured Kai with a sword holder piece, but that piece was nowhere to be found in the set, leading some people to be very upset with the box art, but LEGO later fixed the advertising so it was all corrected. Some of these mistakes are just funny though. For instance, in Fangpire Truck Ambush, the instruction manual swapped Jay's and Zane's head, meaning you'd end up with some very mismatched minifigures if you followed the guide exactly. Similarly, in Skull Motorbike, the artwork depicted Chop-Off with Fracjaw's red armor and a reverse torso. Even Ninjago Destiny's Bounty wasn't immune, as its instructions labeled 2 bags as 12, skipping 11 altogether. Just another printing error that made assembling the set a little more puzzling than usual. The LEGO Star Wars sets have also had their fair share of design errors over the years, and some of them are just too funny or frustrating to ignore. Take, for example, the LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar. The back flap of the calendar doors is a clustered mess of arrows, creating a visual overload that makes you wonder if you're supposed to be building or reading a treasure map. It's a perfect example of how tough it can be to balance compact design with clarity, especially when trying to pack in all those instructions in a limited space. Then there's the LEGO Star Wars Resistance Bomber, which features a particularly perplexing issue. A piece is added in Step 21, but it doesn't actually show up in the build until Step 96. That's a whole 75 steps of wondering where that piece went. Talk about an exercise in patience. A more straightforward step-by-step guide could have saved builders a lot of head scratching. Moving on to the Darth Vader transformation set from 2017, LEGO made a behind-the-scenes blunder. Early product images mistakenly included clear plastic discs used to prop up minifigures during photo shoots. While it's kind of fun to get a peek behind the curtain, the mistake led to confusion for customers who thought the discs were part of the set. Fortunately, LEGO caught it and corrected the images on their official site. The retro LEGO Star Wars set from 2000 had its own issues as well, with the instruction manual omitting 2 bricks from the supplies list but still showing them in the build steps. Missing pieces can make building a nightmare, especially for younger fans, and this serves as a reminder that a thorough check before printing is essential. The 2004 LEGO Star Wars X-Wing Fighter is another example where arrows in the instructions were misleading. Older LEGO instruction styles with their red arrows and busy backgrounds could often confuse builders. In this case, it looked like you needed to place a 1x1 brick on a gear piece. Clearly, this wasn't the intention. The LEGO Star Wars Battle of Endor set caused some optical illusions in its instructions as well, where a 1x3 brick appeared to fit in a 1x4 space. The confusion would have been easily resolved if the visualization arrows were extended, but in the moment, it looked wrong and led to some unnecessary frustrations. The LEGO Star Wars AT-ST Walker featured a peculiar issue where a disc piece transformed into a shadowed figure in the next step, leaving builders unsure whether it was the same piece. It eventually reappeared correctly, but that inconsistency definitely didn't help with the build. The 2005 LEGO Star Wars Sandcrawler also suffered from unclear instructions due to a dark color scheme and high contrast, which made it tough to place small pieces, especially for a set with so many similarly colored bricks. It was a headache for builders and highlighted a common problem with older LEGO designs. In the 2014 LEGO Star Wars droid gunship, a simple but ironic error occurred. The instruction manual showed the droid torso incorrectly oriented. Considering the set focuses on droid figures, this mistake was a bit of a facepalm moment for fans. The LEGO Star Wars Death Star from 2006 also had a couple of issues. One page was misfolded during production, leading to a poorly cut booklet. On top of that, the numbering in the manual went from 598 to 499 instead of 599, throwing some builders off. The LEGO AT-ST Raider stumbled into a Technic pin debacle that left some builders scratching their heads and their pin holders. The root cause was LEGO's production shift from round-hole Technic pins to newer square-holed versions. The instructions for the set still reference the older round-hole designs, which wasn't compatible with the updated pins included in newer batches. This mismatch created a bottleneck for builders who suddenly found themselves unable to assemble parts of the model unless they had access to the retired piece. Imagine an Imperial officer trying to explain why their AT-ST is missing a leg. It's awkward to say the least. For fans, the frustration wasn't just about the delay, but the irony of a galaxy far, far away being grounded by a tiny pin. Then there's this hilarious and rare misstep involving the LEGO Sith Trooper Battle Pack. A Reddit user reported opening their set to discover not the menacing red armor of a Sith Trooper, but a red plaid torso design. Yes, instead of serving the First Order, this trooper looked ready to chop wood and sip hot cocoa in a snowy forest. This mistake likely stemmed from a mix-up during printing or packaging, and while it didn't disrupt the build, it certainly added some unintended charm. Collectors now joke about the lumberjack variant Sith Trooper, proving that even LEGO's errors can spark joy and a few laughs among fans. Now, LEGO's Harry Potter sets didn't quite escape the mess either, because the Harry Potter Advent Calendar had its own fair share of mix-ups. The compartments were swapped, leading to mismatched contents and funny Twitter posts. Instead of getting a turkey in one compartment, a fan ended up getting a croissant, a cream pie, and 3 cookies. And to add to the madness, a Star Wars minifigure was included instead of Professor McGonagall. For fans expecting a Harry Potter-themed experience, this was quite the crossover no one expected. The LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts Clock Tower set serves as a perfect example of how even small errors can create big laughs among fans. On the box art, the clock face is rotated 90 degrees, placing the 12 where it clearly doesn't belong. This amusing mistake is particularly ironic for a set named after a clock tower, where the centerpiece is, well, a clock. Thankfully, the instruction booklet has the clock face oriented correctly, so builders aren't stuck with a magical timepiece in desperate need of a spell to fix it. Then there's the LEGO Harry Potter Lucius Malfoy minifigure from 2002. The instruction booklet originally gave Lucius the wrong hairstyle, a hairpiece that looked more out for a jog than pure blood aristocrat. While LEGO attempted to fix this by updating the hairstyle in digital instructions, they still managed to overlook the cape. So even in his corrected form, Lucius wasn't ready to join the rest of the Malfoy family in the halls of Hogwarts. The LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle set from 2010 also had a curious error in its promotional images. They showed Voldemort wearing green robes instead of his classic black. Maybe it was an attempt to align him with Slytherin pride, but for fans who expect the Dark Lord to stick to his signature fashion palette, the mix-up stood out. At least when it came time to build, Voldemort was back in black, sparing LEGO enthusiasts from any existential crises about his wardrobe choices. In the Hagrid's Hut Buckbeard's Rescue set, LEGO builders encountered a particularly maddening problem: a 2x4 plate with axles that the instructions promised would fit snugly into place simply didn't. The reason? The piece in question had thick supports, but the design called for a version with thin supports, creating an impossible assembly situation. This oversight turned an otherwise magical build into a frustrating puzzle that couldn't be solved without either sourcing a correct older piece or reaching out to LEGO customer service for a replacement. I think they should have tried using some magic, but imagine trying to save Buckbeak and getting stuck because your tools don't fit. It's like being Hagrid without his pink umbrella wand. Builders had no choice but to improvise, delay their progress, or hold their breath while waiting for LEGO's famously helpful customer service to swoop in for the rescue. Now, the LEGO Batman movie minifigures had a small but noticeable error on the checklist. Catman's leg colors were shown in reverse. The illustration depicts his legs with brown on top and yellow on bottom, but the actual minifigure had yellow on top and brown below. It's a minor flub, but one that fans with a keen eye for detail couldn't unsee. It's as if Catman pulled a sneaky costume change right before the photo shoot. In a 2018 LEGO Batman set, the box art showcased Batman holding a Batarang that wasn't included in the final product. While many builders might have had spare Batarangs lying around, the inconsistency was a little disappointing, especially for collectors expecting their sets to match the images. It's like Batman losing his signature gadget mid-mission. The Batcave break-in set also caused a bit of confusion for fans. The inventory listed a unique Batman torso print, but the artwork on the box showed a completely different design. For collectors aiming for accuracy, this mix-up was a head-scratcher. Was it an alternate design or just a misstep? Spider-Man wasn't immune to these errors either. In the Spider-Jet vs. Venom mech set, one step in the instruction manual featured a floating sticker. It was a clear design oversight during the manual's creation and a small reminder that even superheroes and their merch can be imperfect. And in the Black Widow and Captain America motorcycle set, the instruction booklet skipped a significant chunk of steps, jumping from page 6 to page 13 and completely omitting steps 1 through 8. While the build simplicity likely allowed experienced fans to improvise, newer builders might have felt like they were dropped into a spy mission without their gadgets. In the McLaren set, numbering in the instruction manual got out of sync, likely due to a human error during layout or proofreading. While the visuals were accurate, the numbering mistake could trip up younger or inexperienced builders. Meanwhile, the Aston Martin DB5 also had its own quirks, with an unnumbered bag making an unexpected appearance. In smaller sets, this might be a minor inconvenience, but in a large set like the Eiffel Tower, it could quickly turn chaotic. Nia's Samurai X-Mech challenged patience with a blue 2x2 slope brick that didn't exist, replaced by a purple one. While digital instructions eventually corrected this oversight, physical copies left builders second-guessing their inventory. Over in the police bike car chase set, a red 2x4 plate vanished midway through the build, only to reappear later like a magician's trick, mildly annoying but harmless. The dump truck set of 2009 pulled a similar stunt, with 1x1 brown studs appearing a step before they were supposed to, causing a blink and you'll miss a moment. And the ice cream truck police chase went further, omitting not so very clear instructions for a 2x2 white plate in step 8. While the placement is obvious, you just never know what trick LEGO could pull out of their sleeve. Thankfully, builders eventually understood the assignment when the plate mysteriously showed up hidden under other pieces in step 9. The Creator Blue Power Jet set raised eyebrows with an illegal building technique involving a 1x1 clip piece and a square tile, something LEGO usually avoids to prevent stress on parts. And the Millennium Falcon 75257 threw in a phantom cockpit piece, instructing builders to use 2 clear parts when the set only came with and only needed 1. The Eye of Sauron set experienced an amusing production hiccup when a hinge plate appeared in 2 mismatched tones. This likely stemmed from a mix-up on the assembly line where the 2 components of the hinge plate, which are designed to fit seamlessly, ended up with different finishes. Such errors are rare due to LEGO's typically rigorous quality control, but when they slip through, they often add novelty value for collectors. For a set reliant on a menacing all-black aesthetic, this unintended splash of mismatched colors feels oddly out of place, almost like Sauron had a rogue sense of style. Carl's Up Brickhead set faced a quirky mishap of its own with a swapped corner plate. Though the substituted piece didn't disrupt the build, it subtly altered the design. Builders meticulously following the instructions might have paused to check if they'd missed something. Functionally, everything still fit, but the momentary confusion added an unplanned challenge to Carl's brick-based adventure. The Back to the Future time machine added an extra layer of mystery when a red brick appeared unexpectedly in the instructions. Earlier steps had seemingly forgotten its placement, leaving it to reappear without explanation at all. Luckily, the visual guide helped clarify the misstep, transforming frustration into a quick, lighthearted fix. Then, there's the curious case of the Flintstones and Steamboat Willie sets, which were both labeled with the same LEGO Idea series number 24. This caused confusion for collectors who relied on those numbers to track their collections. LEGO later corrected the mistake, but the misnumbered sets have become a rarity, likely increasing their value as collector's items. In the Gandalf Brickhead set, there's an issue where the instruction manual misses a crucial black snot, studs not on top, brick, since it needs 3 but only instructs 2 of them. The correct number of pieces is included, but the small mistake might catch a builder off guard. Thankfully, the online instructions have already been fixed. The Abandoned Mine set from Minecraft suffered a similar fate, with a missing 2 2x1 brick in step 14. While the set was still technically buildable with the available pieces, this error probably tripped up younger builders or those new to the hobby. On the other hand, the issue was a bit more comical in the Frozen Peak set, a rendering glitch that showed Steve's pickaxe clipping into his hand in the instructions. The Fox Lodge set faced its own glitch, however, with torches and flowers vanishing from the instruction guide in step 21. No worries though, they made their return in the following step. In the Parison Restaurant from LEGO Creator Expert set, there's a particularly tricky moment in the second booklet, step 7 of the instructions, where a 2x1 brick is shown as seemingly placed on top of flames. However, this isn't quite right, since it's supposed to be behind the flames, causing a bit of a deceptive error. On top of that, the next step shows that a green brick is now behind the flame instead of that gray colored brick you're supposed to place. This is definitely rule breaking because it causes confusion with incorrect placement of pieces. This is definitely rule breaking because it causes confusion with incorrect placement of pieces, making it hard to follow the instructions. The mismatch between the colors and positions throws off the smooth building process LEGO is typically known for. Then there's the super fun burger truck set, where an unfortunate issue arose from low ink levels during the printing of the instruction manuals. This resulted in slight color discrepancies in the printed colors. While not affecting the build itself, it made the pieces look a little different from what you'd expect. Luckily, the digital instructions corrected the problem, but the damage had already been done in terms of aesthetics. For builders of older sets like the Build-A-Bob SpongeBob set from 2006, there's an interesting challenge in the form of stamp stickers. These stickers would cover multiple pieces, which is a practice that LEGO has since moved away from. While modern builders might find these multi-piece stickers frustrating when trying to disassemble or rebuild the set, it adds a bit of nostalgia for those who remember the days before single-piece stickers were the norm. Still, the complexity of dealing with those larger stickers could be a headache for some. Moving on to the Ocean Exploration Submarine set, there's an interesting discrepancy with a remote piece included in the set. The remote held by one of the divers is slightly different from the one shown in the promotional images. While it's a subtle change, it's still an interesting example of how final products can deviate from early previews. It's a small detail, but it does highlight how design decisions during development can alter the final product, even if it's not necessarily a deal breaker for most builders. In the LEGO roller coaster set, there are a few flag-related inconsistencies that are enough to make anyone pause for a second. First, there are some discrepancies between the box art instructions and the actual build regarding the flags included in the set. The instructions indicate a missing flag during assembly, and in some promotional images, even the flags in the first position seem to be missing. These design oversights or last-minute changes during photography can lead to a confusion and make builders feel like they're missing something. And then, just to add a bit more chaos, there's an instruction booklet numbering error, where the pages jump from 368 to 393. And last but not least, in the Arctic Supply plane set, it has its own little hiccup with sticker placement. The instructions direct builders to create two identical assemblies with symmetrical stickers. However, because the stickers are mirrored, applying them to the wrong sides result in one being upside down. For example, the First Order AT-ST set is quite the peculiar one. Based on The Last Jedi, it faithfully replicates the incomplete walker from the movie. The problem? It's incomplete, literally. The set skips the top section of the AT-ST, making it feel more like a partially assembled kit than a finished display piece. While this is true to the film, it's a missed opportunity for LEGO to add a removable top section for variety. At $40, it feels like the set's design suffered from a case of shrinkflation, giving you less for more. I'd say this is such a low IQ idea because it turns a cool concept into an awkward execution. By skipping the top section entirely, LEGO limits its play and display value, making the set feel incomplete and overpriced. It's as if someone said, let's sell half a product and call it creative. Moving on to Ahsoka Tano's duel on Peridia, where repetitive builds and an eye-watering 20 stickers dominate the experience. Stickers are quite a topic among LEGO fans, and this set is practically a manifesto for the less is more movement. At $55, the price feels steep for a build that lacks innovation. The exclusive minifigures are a redeeming feature, but even they can't distract from the uninspired design. Then there's the Chewbacca set, a large-scale attempt to bring the galaxy's favorite Wookiee to life in brick form. The execution is debatable to say the least. Representing fur with LEGO bricks is no small feat, and here it results in a model that's more fuzzy nightmare than faithful reproduction. At $200, this is a high-risk, high-reward gamble. This is a crazy low IQ idea because trying to replicate Chewbacca's fur with rigid LEGO bricks was doomed from the start. Instead of capturing the beloved Wookiee's charm, the set delivers an uncanny uncanny and awkward model that leaves fans wondering why $200 was spent on a blocky Bigfoot. The Obi-Wan Kenobi vs. Darth Vader set based on the Kenobi series includes 4 iconic minifigures: Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, Tala Durith, and Ned B. But the build itself, flat, gray, and barren. It's like someone carved out a chunk of cement and slapped some characters on it. Originally priced at $50, but now available for $30, it seems even LEGO realized this set was as exciting as a sand dune on Tatooine. While it serves as a small nod to the series, it feels more like a piece of a larger custom creation than a standalone set itself. Then there's the Ultimate Lightsaber Duel from 2005. This set holds the dubious honor of being one of the lowest rated LEGO Star Wars sets ever, with a 2.8 star rating from 20 reviews. It features Anakin and Obi-Wan battling it out on a chunk of Mustafar, but not very convincingly. The lava background looks fine in photos, but remove the box and it's just a generic pile of parts. Adding to the frustration are the figures, which are mounted on sticks designed to flip for dueling action. The problem? They flip and keep flipping, leaving you with a frustrating wobbly mess. It's no wonder this set left fans feeling the frustration of the dark side. The Technic C-3PO set might be one of the strangest attempts at recreating the galaxy's most beloved protocol droid. From the get-go, it seems LEGO made some odd choices. First off, C-3PO's iconic gold plating is swapped for a mostly black design, giving him a shadowy disaster aesthetic rather than the regal sheen we all know and love. But it doesn't stop there. The build is shaky, with rigid, unbending knees that make any kind of posability a pipe dream. To top it off, the limbs tend to fall off at the slightest touch, and getting them back on is apparently harder than escaping a trash compactor on the Death Star. The set's one redeeming feature, a self-destruct button, sounds fun in theory, but struggles to work properly. Overall, this Technic take on C-3PO feels more like a droid in distress than a star-worthy display, leaving it low on playability and even lower in the fan ratings. Not really the smartest LEGO creation in history. Then we have General Grievous's Combat Speeder from the 2018 release lineup. According to Brickset, this set is infamous as the lowest rated LEGO Star Wars set ever, a title that's both impressive and tragic given the vast lineup. Inspired by the Clone Wars episode A Necessary Bond, this scene sees Grievous chasing Ahsoka on Florum. While the show oozes tension and high stakes, the LEGO set brings confusion. For starters, Mace Windu, who wasn't even part of the scene, is included. Meanwhile, the speeder itself looks wildly inaccurate, being far larger and featuring mismatched colors compared to its on-screen counterpart. If that wasn't enough, fans felt the set reeked of a cash grab, with just 157 pieces priced at $30. The price per piece ratio made it feel overpriced and underwhelming. Despite featuring 2 beloved characters, this set didn't stand a chance against fan scrutiny. The Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit set from Star Wars is a prime example of LEGO's recent trend of downgrading popular sets. For $80, you get a pretty basic skiff and a bland sand mound. While earlier versions of the set included more interesting features like Jabba's sail barge, this one feels like it's missing the extra flair that fans would expect. It's kind of like getting the main dish at a restaurant and then realizing you've been served the kids menu. Not exactly the treat you were hoping for. Now, the LEGO Avengers Helicarrier. Seems like an exciting idea, right? A miniature version of the iconic aircraft carrier from the Marvel Universe. However, it comes with a hefty $80 price tag for just 509 pieces. For that price, you're essentially paying for the Marvel adult tax, which is essentially the cost of pretending you're still a kid, but with a bigger wallet. The build itself is solid and the design is nice, but the added cost combined with an overload of stickers, seriously, who needs that many stickers, makes it a questionable purchase, especially when compared to better sets like the 2023 Quinjet, which offers more bang for your buck. Essentially, it's like buying a high-end product, but realizing the extra premium doesn't match the product's quality. Then there's the Batman 8-in-1 Brickheads. Now, this sounds like a cool idea at first, 8 Batman options, but wait, you can only build one Batman at a time. So what's the deal with the other parts? Oh, that's right, those extra pieces are just for show unless you go and buy multiple sets. The cherry on top, the alternate builds aren't included in the instructions, but are basically hidden away in LEGO's app, which makes the whole thing feel unnecessarily complicated. This ultimately gives you a lot of unused pieces and a bit of confusion. Next, the Batman Killer Croc Sewer Smash set sounds promising. The Batman Killer Croc Sewer Smash set sounds promising. Batman vs. Killer Croc, a couple of flashy vehicles, and the promise of high-octane action. But the execution falls short. The vehicles, which should be exciting, are overly simplistic and hollow, leaving you with big empty spaces that should have been filled with more intricate details. The repetitive tasks like attaching Technic treads and teeth make the build feel more like an assembly line project than a creative endeavor. What could have been a dynamic build ends up feeling like a slog, uninspired, repetitive, and lacking the fun that a Batman set should bring. Now, the Iron Man vs. the Mandarin Ultimate Showdown might be one of the strangest LEGO battles ever imagined. It's based on a non-movie accurate version of the showdown with a flamethrower tank that's about as relevant to Iron Man 3 as a toaster is to an underwater mission. The set has some bright colors, but the design feels clunky and disconnected, especially with its awkward Technic flamethrower arm. It's affordable, but the strange concept and poor execution makes it feel more like a LEGO original idea gone wrong than a classic showdown fans wanted to see. Not only that, but the Ultimate Spider-Man Spider-Trike vs. Electro set might just be one of the oddest LEGO sets out there. The Spider-Trike itself is something I can't quite wrap my head around. It looks more like a farm tractor than a superhero vehicle. The sticks jutting out from the back seem incomplete, and the whole thing just looks awkward, like Spider-Man is about to take a leisurely ride through a muddy field instead of fighting crime. To make things worse, the trike is flimsy, and Spider-Man has a habit of falling out because there's no plate to keep him in place. On the other hand, Electro's minifigure is pretty cool, with his translucent arms and his funky lightning board, but it can't make up for the trike's embarrassing design. Honestly, this set seems to be a bad idea from the start, with a dorky vehicle and a minifigure that's a little too cool for the rest of it. Now we have Eternal's Aerial Assault, which despite its ambitious Marvel tie-in, fell flat with fans. The minifigures were a major letdown, recycling faces from other characters. Icarus has Hawkeye's face, Sprite has Hermione's, and Captain America's hair? Yikes. Which made the set feel lazy and uninspired. To make matters worse, the deviant villain was criticized for being both poorly designed and dull in color. Sure, the set looks good on the box, but it doesn't live up to expectations when you actually start building, and the build itself, tedious. This is definitely one of the lowest rated Marvel sets out there. Then we have the Hogwarts Castle Boathouse set, which is a bit of a mixed bag. At $38, it's positioned as the entry-level version of the third iteration of Hogwarts Castle, which sounds fine until you realize that LEGO seems to constantly reset the Harry Potter series. This makes collecting these castle sets feel a bit like getting caught in a never-ending cycle, one where you're always buying new versions that aren't compatible with previous ones. For us, it's a pretty low IQ idea because it turns collecting into a frustrating and expensive loop. But for LEGO, it seems pretty smart by making new sets that don't fit with older ones, so it forces fans to keep buying. Instead of feeling the magical fantasy with Harry Potter, it just feels like a cash grab. Next, there's Hedwig at 4 Privet Drive, a small and decent build for $20. The problem is, it doesn't really bring anything new to the table. Between the brick-built Hedwig and the Brickheads versions, this one feels redundant. Like LEGO thought, why not squeeze in another Hedwig set just for the fun of it? The build is quick and simple, but honestly, that's all it is. Simple. There's not much creativity involved, and the small size limits how much fun you can actually have with it. It's just so low IQ because it adds nothing new or exciting. With so many Hedwig sets already, this one feels pointless. Like LEGO just made it to fill a gap, not because anyone needed it or wanted it. It's just small, simple, and forgettable. No offense, Hedwig. The Flying Ford Anglia is another in a long line of nearly identical versions of the iconic vehicle from Harry Potter. While it's fairly affordable at $15, it feels kind of unnecessary at this point. There's very little new or exciting here, and LEGO could have used the opportunity to try something more innovative, like scaling it up into a display piece. Instead, it's just another small minifig scale replica that doesn't offer anything fresh. Now, Aragog in the Dark Forest gets an interesting mention as one of the lowest rated Harry Potter sets, and it's not because of bad design. Well, not entirely. It's more because of Aragog himself. The giant jet black spider has unnerved more than a few people, mainly due to those creepy eyes and pincers. Making a set based on a giant spider might be bold, but for anyone scared of spiders, it's more nightmare fuel than a fun build. Not very magical. The Burj Khalifa set from 2011 Architecture Series offers a build that represents one of the most iconic architectural feats in the world. It's a decent homage to the tallest building on Earth, but the experience of building it less than thrilling. The entire model relies heavily on 1x1 round bricks, and let's just say it quickly becomes a repetitive exercise in stacking identical pieces. It's almost like LEGO missed a golden opportunity to showcase more advanced building techniques to truly capture the grandiosity of the Burj Khalifa. Instead, it feels like an oversimplistic and tedious task, which leaves you wondering why they didn't make it a bit more challenging or creative. Then there's Modern Art, which is a LEGO set based on modern art. Ironically enough, the idea of modern art is all about breaking conventions limitations and pushing boundaries, so packaging it into a pre-designed LEGO set feels a little counterproductive. For $50, the price itself is nice, and it does end up looking aesthetically pleasing, but it feels like LEGO's take on creativity is a bit packaged. You're following instructions to something that's supposed to represent creativity, which almost feels like it's missing the point of modern art in the first place. LEGO's message board set takes a different approach, however, and not necessarily in a good way. For $100, you're essentially paying for beige tiles that you can rearrange to spell out letters, and that's it. The build is tedious, the frame feels flimsy, and the price tag is downright outrageous for something so uninspiring. You're better off raiding your spare bricks to make your own version of a message board, and honestly, it might even be more satisfying. Moving on to the Shadow the Hedgehog bust. It's hard to ignore how unsettling this set is. For $70, you're essentially getting a disembodied head of Shadow, but the build lacks smoothness, and from many angles, it just looks awkward. LEGO busts tend to have a certain polish, but this one is an exception. If you're not already a hardcore fan of Shadow the Hedgehog, you might find yourself asking, who's actually paying this much for a video game character's head on a stick? The answer apparently is a select group of very dedicated fans. Then there's Travel Moments, a set inspired by LEGO Masters that features a plane with detailed vignettes. Sounds cool, right? Except the final product turns out to be a flat earth model with some photo stands. For $60, you might expect a bit more creativity, but this set just falls flat, literally and figuratively. You can't even use all the features at once, making it feel incomplete and frankly, a little tacky. It's the kind of set that makes you think, what happened to the excitement? What happened to LEGO? What happened? The wooden minifigure is a curious one. Designed as a large LEGO wooden minifigure meant for display, it's a piece that shows aesthetic craftsmanship, but at $120, it feels absurd. It's a static figure with no real functionality, which goes against LEGO's usual charm of engaging in interactive builds. You can't even use it with your regular LEGO bricks, so it feels more like a collector's niche item than something that adds to the fun. The small bag of LEGO bricks that comes with it doesn't add much value either, leaving you to wonder why you'd spend so much on something that doesn't do much. The BTS Dynamite set from the LEGO Ideas targets BTS fans with a simple diorama from the Dynamite music video. While it's nice to see LEGO attracting new audiences, the minimalist design leaves much to be desired. For a whopping $100, this set feels overpriced, offering a beginner-level build with dumbed-down techniques that make it seem like an afterthought. Sure, it comes with BTS minifigures, but they don't quite make up for the lack of creativity or building depth. If you're expecting a satisfying LEGO experience, this isn't the set to look for. LEGO has ventured into some pretty bizarre territory over the years, and not all of their themes have aged well or found much success. Take Little Robots, for instance. This children's TV series aired in Europe around 2003, and was met with LEGO's attempt to capture the show's magic with a few exclusive Duplo sets. These were only available through LEGO Shop at Home service, making them a regional curiosity that most LEGO fans have never even heard of, like myself. While some unique pieces were included, the real kicker was the robot's eyes. Those things are downright unsettling. It's like they're staring straight into your soul, making them prime candidates for any list of creepy LEGO sets. The LEGO Humongosaur set from 2010 has earned its reputation as one of the most disappointing LEGO sets in history. With only 14 pieces, it's hard to imagine how something so simple could go so wrong. The set's most glaring flaw is how confusing it is to even figure out what it's supposed to be. Humongosaur's limbs are disproportionately lanky, and many reviewers point out how the hollow back legs make him look even more wonky. Poses are nearly impossible, and any attempt at displaying him just ends up being a frustrating exercise in futility. Fans described him as hideous and unsatisfying, and the best thing anyone could say about him is that it was unique due to its brown pieces. That's not the kind of praise you want your set to get. The Snap Jet Car from 1998 is another contender for worst set ever. This set is part of LEGO's Snap series, but with just 26 pieces, it barely qualifies as a jet car. Honestly, it's more of a weird blob on wheels. The alternate builds are even worse, basically an incoherent mess of pieces. For $3, you're better off getting a snack, like literally anything, because this set doesn't even give you the satisfaction of a decent build. It's about as car-like as a stack of ice cream sticks, and for the same price, you could go buy something that at least doesn't look like a rejected school art project. The Jack Stoner Super Glider is wildly regarded as one of the most pointless LEGO sets ever made. It's called a Super Glider, but the glider is a flimsy piece of paper attached to 5 LEGO pieces. The minifigure itself is glued together, so you can't even move him, All in all, this makes the set an insult to everything LEGO stands for: creativity, playability, and fun. The glider itself doesn't even glide. You'd think the super glider would do something, but no, it just plummets to the ground like Jack Stone's hopes and dreams. And then there's Galador Nick from 2002, a set that's considered by many to be one of the ugliest and most confusing LEGO sets ever produced. Nick, the figure from the Galador series, has a weird warped appearance that makes it look more like a knockoff toy from a dollar store than a LEGO set. Made up of only 3 pieces, the head, torso, and legs, this set was basically just a random hunk of cheap plastic. It's so unlike anything LEGO has made before that it felt like an insult to the brand. Fans were absolutely appalled by its strange design and cheap quality, and the fact that it was tied to a short-lived TV series didn't help its reputation. Now last, but certainly not least, here's Scala, LEGO's attempt to appeal to young girls in the 90s. Created in an effort to compete with Barbie, this line was short-lived. The set featured a figure named Baby Thomas, whose stare is the kind of thing that haunts you in your nightmares. While Scala fizzled out quickly, it did introduce some unique pieces that are still compatible with modern-day LEGO sets, making it a curiosity for collectors. But let's be honest, no one's rushing to grab that Baby Thomas figure off the shelf. I mean, just look at it.
Starting things off with the LEGO Starry Night set. This set is a real gem because it does recreate Vincent van Gogh's famous painting with incredible detail. But once you finish building it, you might be left wondering why you've got a ton of leftover 1x4 plates in all sorts of different colors. Although it's not uncommon to end up with a few extra pieces, the sheer number of these plates is unusual. And most extra pieces are just tiny and a safety net in case something goes missing. LEGO also usually counts parts by weight, so lighter pieces get extras to prevent issues. But however, in this case, LEGO went above and beyond. The mystery deepens because LEGO actually included these extra parts as a step in the instructions and even featured them in the official set images. Well, if you look at the set, there are many shades of blue plates: aqua, bright blue, dark azure, earth blue, light royal blue, medium azure, and medium blue. I don't even know what azure means. Anyways, that's a lot of blues, but to prevent confusion over which shade to use, LEGO included extras for each and every color. This way, if you accidentally grab the wrong shade earlier in the build, well, you'll have plenty of spares to correct your mistake. And with the Tales of the Space Age set, you'll notice more of LEGO's quirky design choices, because in bag number 2, you'll get a bunch of white wand pieces that are used as comet trails. You should have at least 1 wand left over since these wands come in pairs, but the odd part comes in bag number 3, because here there's a step with a picture of bag number 2 and a single white wand piece despite the wand not being in bag 3 at all. The idea overall is that you use one of the leftovers from bag number 2 to finish off the build. And look, it's a clever way to use extra pieces, but it's definitely not something you see every day and does for sure lower your IQ a bit. And then there's the upscale minifigure set. In step 33, you're instructed to place a 4x4 round brick on top of a turntable piece, which seems pretty straightforward. But here's where it gets weird, because you're also told to insert a Technic axle piece into the hole of the brick. The axle doesn't actually click into place though and remains loose, which makes the next step even stranger. And that's step 34, which involves putting a 2x2 tile over the hole to keep the axle in place. And even when covered, the axle still rattles around. However, this axle isn't entirely pointless because it does reinforce the build, making it more durable, much like how rebar strengthens concrete. Speaking of clever though, the LEGO Succulent set has a fun trick as well, because at the end of book 3, you're told to place 2 loose Technic axles underneath the plant and then cover them up. It seems a bit random, but it's actually a smart move. Technic axles are tiny and easy to lose, so they're included as replacements. The set provides plenty of them to ensure you don't run out. But now let's talk about something less practical but still interesting, and that's the LEGO Treehouse set. In step 33, you're instructed to place a single crystal in a hole that's gonna be covered up shortly. And to make things even stranger, there is a picture of a minifigure in the instruction booklet winking and holding the same crystal. It's like he's showing off his hidden treasure, and it's a quirky little touch. Now, some LEGO sets include hidden printed pieces, but sometimes it's just baffling. For instance, in Bowser's airship from the Super Mario line, you place 2 printed POW blocks side by side, and a few steps later, one of them is completely covered up by another brick. Why hide a printed piece? It's possible that the Super Mario sets are meant to be highly customizable, so extra printed pieces are included to let builders create their own levels. That's just speculation though, that's not confirmed. And something very similar to that is found in the 1970 Ferrari set, which has printed 1x1 plates with the Ferrari logo that are also covered up in in later steps. Basically, the idea here is to prevent builders from using the wrong pieces too early in the build. By placing the printed plates where they won't be seen, LEGO avoids potential mistakes down the line. And in one set, there are steps with no pieces at all. Step 27 of the Imperial Landing craft set shows an empty blue box. I'm not even joking, check this out. It is an empty blue box, implying no bricks are needed at all. It's the final step of the sub build, so it's a bit pointless, but a similar issue also arises in the Hulkbuster Battle of Wakanda set, where steps 4 and 5 are identical, making step 5 pretty unnecessary. Basically, they duplicated a step. They have it twice for whatever reason. And then there are the instruction booklets that are just poorly designed. For example, the Lego Bonsai Tree set, and who doesn't love that one, has instructions that are hard to read, like even the official PDF of the instruction booklet. The Sesame Street set and the San Francisco Architecture set also suffer from the dark backgrounds that make the instructions a bit difficult to follow. Even though pretty much all of my devices are in dark mode, this is also almost unbearable. I mean, I literally can't even see what some of this says. And back in the day, Lego instructions were even worse. I mean, just take a look at the 1989 El Dorado Fortress, for example. One page has 4 steps with no clear instructions, piece counts, or sub-assembly guidance. I mean, it was a real puzzle to build, but then again, it was also 1989, and I think Lego hasn't even been around for that long. And then listen to this, the 2002 Jack Stone Super Glider set, which is often called the worst Lego set ever. The glider is just awful, and clearly someone didn't study physics at all. It doesn't support the heavy Jack Stone figure, leading to many frustrating plummets. I mean, does this make sense to you? I don't think so. Now, one of Lego's most successful themes, and we all know it, is the Star Wars theme, and there's no denying it. However, not every single Star Wars battle set hits the mark. I mean, just take a look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader set, based on the showdown in the Kenobi TV series. Released in 2022, this set should have been a slam dunk. I mean, it's fairly new. Instead, though, it's more of a layup that bounces off the rim, rolls around the edge, and then lays in the popcorn of the person sitting courtside right beside you. Because at glance, this set looks like a giant gray slab, which is fitting since the fight takes place on a barren gray field, but it doesn't exactly scream excitement. Some fans have gone so far as to call it the most boring Lego set ever released, and honestly, it's kind of hard to argue with that. And for $50, you get what is essentially a buildable thick gray base plate. I mean, just talk about a letdown for a Lego Star Wars set too. I mean, this set currently has one of the lowest ratings on Brickset, barely scraping it with 3 stars. And look, if this set were a Star Wars character, it'd probably be that one background extra who accidentally walks into the camera shot. On the flip side though, we have the Spider Trike vs. Electro set. With only 70 pieces, that's not that many, there's not much to work with, but even then, this set still feels lazy and lacks brain cells. I mean, just fully. There are no real play features and the design is boring. And on top of that, the name itself is a bit inaccurate. Trikes are supposed to have 3 wheels, right? I mean, think of a tricycle, it's 1 wheel in the front, 2 wheels in the back, but this one clearly has 4. I don't know if someone forgot to count or what's going on. It's just like calling a car a unicycle and hoping no one notices. It makes no sense. Now, Lego's architecture line has been recreating real-world locations in brick form for over 15 years. Some of these sets are stunning, like the San Francisco skyline, but not all architecture sets are winners. The very first architecture set, the Sears Tower from 2008, is a good example of a set that leaves you wanting more. With only 69 pieces and a $20 price tag, it's almost 30 cents per piece, which is about 3 times the normal average for a Lego set. And what do you get for that price? Well, a bunch of basic black bricks that anyone could probably find in their spare parts bin. Sure, I mean, look, it is a cool souvenir if you do visit the tower, but as a standalone set, it's pretty underwhelming. Similarly, the Burj Khalifa set from 2011, which is based on the tallest building in the world, doesn't quite live up to the expectations. Standing 10 inches tall, the set is mostly made up of just 1x1 round bricks, 112 of them to be exact. It's like Lego just ran out of ideas halfway through and decided to stack a bunch of cylinders together and just said, yep, this is what we're gonna do. And unlike the real tower, this set is more boring than breathtaking, and its 3-star rating clearly reflects that. For the Marvel fans out there, let's now take a look at the mighty Captain America shield. Conceptually, Lego has had success with their helmet busts and Thor's hammer, but this just feels like a stretch. It's as if someone said, what if we made a giant Lego disc that can't be worn or thrown and just kind of, sits there looking large. Now look, the execution, to be fair, is decent. It does resemble Captain America's shield with its bright colors and nice shape. But let's be honest, it's just a fragile, oversized frisbee that you won't dare chuck at anyone unless you're keen on cleaning up a million shattered pieces. And then we get to the pricing. For several $100s, you get a bunch of basic colored bricks in the shape of a shield. It's like like paying premium prices for a designer bucket of red and white Legos. And as for the build experience, well, if you're into repetitive tasks that make you question your life choices, well, I guess this set is for you. It's a monotonous slog of building these same red and white stripes over and over and over again until you're convinced you've been trapped in the Lego themed Groundhog Day. Next up though, we have the Hedwig at 4 privet dive set. Now, who doesn't love Harry Potter as much as the next wizard? But this set just isn't it. It's kind of just meh. If that was a set, it'd be this one. It's essentially a remake of a remake, which begs the question, why does this tiny minimalist Hedwig need to exist at all? It feels like Lego was trying to hit some kind of Hedwig quota and thought, hey, let's make a smaller, less impressive version just to add more Hedwig sets out there. The execution is fine, considering it's just a tiny owl with a tiny chest, but the whole concept just feels unnecessary and frankly a bit dumb. For $20, you get a small, quick, and mindless build that leaves you wondering, why didn't you just buy a chocolate frog instead? The whole thing reeks of minimal effort and a dumb concept if you ask me. Like, just get the better version. Moving on, we have the Batman Killer Croc Sewer Smash. Ah yes, another giant Lego vehicle that's mostly empty space. Just what we all needed for our lovely collections. You might have this big, bulky Batman vehicle that, despite its size, is mostly just air. It's like Lego decided to see how little they could actually build while still calling it a set. Lots of tank pieces, lots of teeth, and lots of treads. But the whole thing feels like a waste of potential. The build experience is a tedious affair of linking together small Technic pieces and adding teeth, oh, and more teeth. And for what? A big, dumb, mostly hollow vehicle that might just be a waste of space? I don't know. It's kind of dumb if you ask me. Now, taking a look at the First Order ATST, it looks kind of underwhelming. Giving fans an incomplete vehicle build and pretending it's a complete set? Well, brilliant idea, right? Yeah, not so much. Because in the movie, BB-8 drives this thing and the top peels off. But Lego, why not just give us the full ATST with a removable top? Instead, we get this half-baked, incomplete version that just feels like a cruel joke. The execution is accurate to the film, sure, but that doesn't make it any less dumb. And then there's the pricing. Charging $40 for an incomplete ATST set is ridiculous, especially when the full versions have been sold for even less. This is shrinkflation at its finest, so I guess the economy's not looking so great. The build experience is as incomplete as the set itself, making this dumb concept an even dumber reality. And the more we lower our IQs, the dumbness reaches new heights with the Lego Star Wars Chewbacca. Take everything we said about Captain America's shield earlier and amplify the issues tenfold, and basically right there you've got Chewbacca. It's a Lego Star Wars figure, but it's not a droid, it's a furry Wookiee. Now, why on earth would you try to replicate fur with bricks? That's just asking for trouble. This Chewbacca looks like something out of a Lego horror movie. It's so bad you almost feel sorry for the designers who had to make it. And then there's the price, $200 for this monstrosity. Who in their right mind would pay that kind of money for something that looks like this? The build itself is probably complex, but at what cost? You're left with a hideous Lego Chewbacca and a gaping hole in your wallet. Look, I'll give credit where credit is due. For replicating fur in Lego form, they didn't do too bad of a job. I guess they did the best job they could for what they can do, but just look at this thing's face, man. It says it all. Now, Lego's Unikitty line brings us to Dr. Fox's Magnifying Machine, a set that promises to be a nifty little microscope toy at first glance. It's a creative idea, no doubt about that. But once you start digging into it, you'll realize soon enough that it's not all it's cracked up to be. For starters, it's on the pricier side and isn't exactly easy to track down these days. And let's be honest, what kind of Lego set doesn't include a minifigure? Can you name me one? Instead, they just throw in a pair of flimsy paper glasses that seem more suited for a costume party than a building session. The set also includes 4 plastic tiles that you're supposed to examine under the microscope, but don't get too excited because they're just tiny prints of basic images. Sure, the idea of a Lego microscope is intriguing and kind of a good one, but when the most thrilling part of the experience is wearing goofy paper glasses, you might just start to question your financial choices. And also, where's the minifigure? There's no minifigure! Now look, while there might be a handful of die-hard fans who were eagerly awaiting the Powerpuff Girls themed Lego minifigures, it's still confusing as to why the Lego Powerpuff Girls Bubbles Playground Showdown made it into the Lego lineup. For starters, it doesn't include any of the show's iconic villains, which feels like a missed opportunity since Powerpuff Girls are often known for their villain, Mojo Jojo, the monkey. this guy. Plus, it comes almost pre-assembled, which sort of defeats the whole point of Lego, where they just took all the fun away. Sure, it might be trying to recreate a scene from the beloved Cartoon Network series, but then even again, it's an odd choice of a scene to immortalize in plastic bricks. The Powerpuff Girls reboot didn't exactly set the world on fire per se, so this set feels about as necessary as a screen door on a submarine. Moving on though, to mark the turn of a century, Lego unveiled a colossal 2,882 piece model of the Statue of Liberty. And fast forward to 2024, and this set has become a rare gem in the collector's world, with it being nearly impossible to get at all. However, for all its hype, it doesn't even exactly scream Statue of Liberty when you first lay eyes on it. In fact, it looks more like someone tried to recreate Lady Liberty in 8-bit form, which is a lot less detail and a bit of guesswork. Lego has definitely come a long way since then, and their more recent model of the statue is a significant upgrade, actually resembling the real thing. But this 24-year-old set, despite looking like it was designed by someone who has only seen the Statue of Liberty in a dream, remains a highly coveted piece for collectors, I guess purely because of scarcity and because it's hard to find. Despite the name sounding like it could be a DIY Lego tape recorder, this 2009 Lego record and play set was actually a wind-up car with a quirky twist. After building it, users could press a bright red record button on the car's back, trace out a path, and then hit play to watch the car retrace that same route. Kind of a cool idea, right? It's one of those you have to see it to believe it kind of concepts, but apparently not many people did. The product, let's just put it this way, didn't exactly fly off the shelves, likely because Lego's marketing left most people scratching their heads, wondering what on earth even this was supposed to do. Next though, Lego's Mars Mission series was a quirky dive into the world of sci-fi and space exploration, but these kits often took out of this world a bit too literally. The designs were imaginative, sure, but they also left many scratching their heads. The sets included what seemed to be a rocket ship along with a bewildering array of tubes and air pumps that looked more like a plumbing experiment gone wrong than a space adventure. Life on Mars is already a complicated idea as a whole, but Lego somehow managed to make it even more perplexing with this line. It's no wonder these sets didn't exactly skyrocket in popularity. The odd designs might have been a little too alien, get the joke, for average Lego fans. Back in 1987, Lego released their Robot Command Center model. This thing looks like a weird visual trick and leaves you wondering what it's actually supposed to be and what are all those random pieces for. Kids might find a way to make sense of it, I guess, but for the rest of us, it's most likely a head scratcher. Nowadays, if you're into vintage Lego, this set might cost a pretty penny, but look, you're probably better off just forgetting it ever existed. It's not the brightest. Take a look at this though. Remember Jack Stone and his flop glider from earlier? Well, Jack Stone was Lego's big attempt to capture kids' imaginations in the early 2000s with his action-packed adventures. Unfortunately, the enthusiasm for Mr. Stone died pretty quickly and the whole line was dropped not long after. Today, the Jack Stone Bank Breakout set is a bit of a cringeworthy relic from Lego's past. I mean, did Lego really want kids to be getting into bank heists? That was a very, smart of them. And they're already super, avoidant of military sets and stuff like that, so I don't understand why they did that. It's kind of like they're contradicting themselves. The Harry Potter universe, though, has been a goldmine for Lego since they snagged the rights in 2001. With impressive sets like the Hogwarts Castle and the Chamber of Secrets, it's been a magical journey for Lego fans. But things took a turn into the bizarre when Goblet of Fire hit the screen, and Lego chose to build the Harry Potter Rescue of the Mere People set based on the rather unsettling Mere People scene. Seriously, who thought a giant squid and a couple of minifigures made for prime Lego material? It's definitely one of the weirder sets, leaving fans for sure scratching their heads about the choice of source material altogether. Now look, I've mentioned Star Wars multiple times in this list already, but that's only because Lego has churned out an astounding number of Star Wars sets over the past years. One of the more continuous ones was Jabba the Hutt's palace, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what this set is. Modeled after the first act of Return of the Jedi, the set stirred up quite a fuss among some religious groups who thought the palace resembled a mosque a bit too closely. Okay, now that's a bit crazy, but besides that, how many people were really itching to get their hands on the giant Jabba the Hutt minifigure? Definitely not me. Lego's Time Cruiser series was a quirky collection of sci-fi gadgets that could easily fill this list all on their own. However, among the lineup, there was one set that really stood out for its sheer oddity. It's meant to resemble a time-traveling vehicle, but let's be honest, Back to the Future already did that. This contraption looks more like something the Joker might just whip around for fun, not a time machine. New Lego fans, however, might look at this design and wonder if it's a joke, especially with that baffling propeller. What is that even supposed to do? If we were ever to invent time machines, let's just hope, that they don't look like this. Next, we have the Technic C-3PO set, but it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. If you thought C-3PO looked looked a bit weird in the movies, well, just check out this version. Instead of his classic gold, he's got a strangely dark and incomplete look, definitely not what you'd expect. This C-3PO has some serious design flaws. I mean, his knees are stiff as a board and his limbs keep falling off, which makes putting him back together a real pain. The one feature that's supposed to be cool is a button that lets you blow up C-3PO, but good luck getting that button to work. With its limited playability and poor reviews, this set is definitely one of the least loved LEGO Star Wars sets. In short, it's a bit of a disaster that even the Force couldn't fix. See the joke I did there? Coming up now is the infamous fire helicopter response set from 2020. This set is a train wreck with terrible reviews on the official LEGO site, making it one of the lowest rated ever. It retailed for $30, but came with just 93 pieces, making the price per piece a shocking 32 cents. For context, that's about 3 times more than usual, like what it usually should be. The set's helicopter was built with an oversized single piece that felt more at home in the Juniors or Duplo set. LEGO tried to be innovative with a feature allowing the helicopter to fly after pulling the ripcord, or at least hover for a moment before plummeting to the ground. And you know what else plummeted? Clearly their IQ and their knowledge on physics, because I don't know why they thought that would work. This set did, however, have a really cool and unique rotor blade design similar to the older Ninjago sets, but it turned out to be too heavy to even actually work. Reviewers complained that the helicopter dropped like a rock, leaving them utterly disappointed. I mean, who doesn't want the helicopter that they're buying to actually, be a helicopter and fly? Why don't we just leave the ripcords for the Beyblades? You know what I'm saying? And last but not least, there is the infamous Knights Kingdom 2 from 2004, which introduced a bunch of poorly designed constructible knights. These figures, which were meant to represent mighty warriors, ended up being a letdown due to flimsy cardboard shields that would be bent and fall off easily. So much for being mighty.
Ever wondered if LEGO could defy gravity? Well, check out this LEGO Spider-Man set, the Spider Jet vs. Venom Mech. In step 50 of the instructions, you're supposed to add a sticker to the clear cockpit piece and then place it on the build. But guess what? The sticker is already there, just floating in midair. It seems like the LEGO designer who created these instructions started with this image and then decided to raise up the cockpit, but they left the sticker layer down below. So we've got ourselves a floating sticker. Check out this LEGO Creator wind turbine set. It's this massive wind turbine, pretty wild stuff. Now, there's this minifigure pushing a cart with a couple of tanks on it. And here's where it gets interesting. There are 2 nozzles on the top, one yellow and one blue, but they're different pieces. The yellow one doesn't have a hole, while the blue one does. Turns out, LEGO made different versions of this nozzle piece, with the new mold being the yellow one without the hole. But this set has both versions. How? Well, it's like a rare collector's edition, because you've got the new and old versions of the LEGO brick in the same set, placed right next to each other on the cart. Next up is the LEGO Star Wars Resistance Bomber set. It's got something pretty confusing going on with its instructions. So, on step 21, you're told to add a 2x2 gray circular plate piece. But here's the thing. When you look at the set, you can't find that piece anywhere. It's just not there. Not pictured at all. Crazy, right? And get this, you don't actually figure out where the brick goes until step 96, a whole 75 steps later. That's pretty ridiculous. You only stumble upon it because you're building the other side, and then you can go back and add the brick where it should have been in step 21. Talk about a wild ride through the instruction booklet. Here's a funny one from the LEGO Movie 2 set. Welcome to Apocalypseburg. So, in step 211, it tells you that you need 3 bricks, but on the set, there are actually 4 bricks highlighted. There's even a Technic pin there, with red around the edges indicating that you should add it to the build. But the thing is, it's not mentioned in the steps above 211 that you should add it. False alarm, right? Well, if you flip through the next few steps, you'll see it disappears. And when it's added to the main build, it clearly doesn't have a Technic pin in it. Turns out, you add it the next time you build another little contraption and then attach it to the build. Now, this set definitely breaks some LEGO rules. It incorporates an illegal LEGO building technique. Check out the LEGO Creator Blue Power Jet. Take a look at this image and see if you can spot it. Give it a few seconds to sink in. Can you see what's illegal about this build? If not, let's take a peek at the instruction manual where this piece comes together. Take a look at the cockpit of this fighter jet we're building. At the front, you're putting together a 1x1 clip piece, and a 1x1 square tile piece. According to LEGO, this combo is actually an illegal building technique. As you can see, it causes unnecessary stress because it doesn't fit properly. But the clip to tile combo, which is actually okay, is a legal building technique. It's just that the set uses the other combo, which LEGO deems illegal, even though it's an official set. In this LEGO roller coaster set, I want you to check out those flags. There are 3 pairs, right? Well, hold on. On the box art, one of the flags from the second pair is missing. And guess what? Same goes for the instruction booklet cover. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In the actual instructions, it tells you to include that missing flag. Now, flip to another set picture, and you'll notice something else quite funky. The flags from the first position are gone too, and you can see where the third flags were supposed to connect. And speaking of this roller coaster set, here's another interesting tidbit. For some reason, in those set pictures, LEGO decided to remove those flags. Why? Who knows? Now, while we're on the topic of this roller coaster set, let's address another problem. There is a clear misnumbering in the instruction booklet. It goes from step 368 straight to 393. It goes without saying, that's definitely an error. If you happen to have this set, let me know in the comments below if you've spotted this in your instructions as well. Moving on with the LEGO Arctic Supply Plane set. Follow the instructions exactly as they're printed, and you'll end up with a sticker that's upside down on your vehicle. Why's that? Well, the instructions have you create 2 of the exact same piece. And since the stickers are labeled the same, you end up with 2 identical stickers. But when you apply them to either side, one of them needs to be flipped. And suddenly, you've got an upside down sticker. Talk about a bummer. Looks like we all need to keep an eye out when applying those dreaded LEGO stickers. LEGO, please, just give us more printed pieces. Next up, let's get into another LEGO Ninjago set, Kai's Mech Jet. We're going to zoom in on the jet part of this build, not the mech. Looking at the instruction booklet, there's a bit of a color mystery. In the set picture, it looks like you get a gray 1x2 plate with 2 clips on it, but when you actually build it, it's red. So, which one's the real deal? Well, the instruction booklet shows it in red, but on the box art and other images in the booklet, it's gray. The correct one is actually the red clip piece in the instruction booklet. Seems like whoever built the set and took those pictures might have goofed up by using the wrong color clip piece. Wonder if it was intentional or just an honest mistake. Diving into another set, it's a classic mix-up between the box art and the instructions. Set 60042 stars 2 bank robbers zooming away on motorcycles, trying to dodge a police car. It's a modest 110-piece set, nothing too fancy. But what's surprising is the blunder that they made. The box shows these bikes cruising along without any kickstands. Now, that's cool, right? But then you crack open the instructions, and the first thing they tell you is to attach the kickstands. And guess what? They're in every single picture in the booklet. I mean, sure, you shouldn't have your kickstand down while riding, but come on, 4 times in the first 2 pages? That's a bit much, don't you think? Now, there's a little hiccup from the 31120 Medieval Castle, specifically when you're putting together the dragon sub-build. In steps 28 and 30, when you're assembling the dragon's legs, the instructions ask for 2 1x2 plates with connectors each time. But guess what? When you look at the pictures, you only use 1 plate in each step. Now, if this mix-up happened just once, it wouldn't be a big deal, but seeing it twice? That'd definitely make me pause and wonder if I'm doing something wrong, especially if I ended up with a couple of those plates left over in the end. Next, we've got a tiny blip that might be the smallest mistake on our list today, but it's still pretty interesting. This is the Jungle Dragon set from LEGO Ninjago. So, what's the fuss? Well, it's a little mismatch between the box art and the actual instructions. Specifically, it's about one of the villains in the set and how he's holding his 2 daggers. On the box art, the knife blades are shown curving downward, but in the instructions, they're curving upward. So here's the big question. Do you follow the box or the instructions in cases like these? Share your thoughts on what you do in the comments below. Moving on, we've got a couple of quirky mistakes in some Poe Dameron sets. First up, in the construction figure set, there's a small little oopsie in the final step. When you're supposed to place the head, you'll notice a random red Technic pin sticking out of nowhere near his arm. It's like it defies gravity. Turns out, it's from a previous step where you attach the blaster to Poe's hand. Seems like it slipped out of place in the final image. But wait, there's more. On page 99 of Poe Dameron's X-Wing fighter, you're given a small assembly, but if you look closely, the steps seem a bit mixed up. Step 1 shows 2 pieces, while step 2 only shows 1. It's like they're printed out of order. It's a minor hiccup, but it's kind of funny, especially when you realize the same set has another assembly done right in the proper sequence. Last one on the list is a set that I have a lot to talk about. So typically, LEGO sets are made to be put together and, if you want, taken apart, so you can use the pieces for your own cool creations, right? But with the release of the 75313 AT-AT and/or AT-AT, LEGO's doing things a bit differently. Some parts of it can't be taken apart without using sharp metal tools. So these Technic frames they introduced back in 2009, super versatile, great for building sturdy models. But you gotta handle them with care, because if you connect stuff to them in a certain way, you might not be able to take it apart later. Say you stick one of these frames inside another horizontally, then slide 2 axles through the adjacent holes. Once it's in, it's stuck. Designers working on Technic sets usually know about this trick, and make sure it doesn't mess up anything in official sets. But it seems like there's a slip-up in 75313 AT-AT. Let me break it down for you. First, you set up the orange pin and the axle connector without any problems. Then, things get tricky when you slide in the green pin connector and push a 4L axle through it. Once it's in, there's no easy way to take it apart. You're stuck, and the only option is to gently nudge the axle with the knife blade, risking damage. Now, onto attaching the body to the underframe. The axles you insert into the side holes don't snugly fit into any holes inside the body. Removing them involves flipping the whole thing over, giving it a shake, and hoping for the best. It seems like LEGO might have overlooked a few things with this set. Maybe they were too focused on making it look awesome that they forgot about the practical side of things. And let's not forget the struggle of trying to dismantle LEGO sets without damaging them. Not exactly a walk in the park, especially when you're dealing with intricate builds like this one. Another thing about the LEGO Star Wars AT-AT set is that on step 884 in the 4th booklet, there's a tiny mistake. They ask for 2 identical 3x2 wedge pieces, but looking at where they should go, it's clear we need 2 mirrored wedges instead. No need to worry though, because fortunately, the set still has all of the right parts in it.
Kicking things off with the 75313 AT-AT. You know how LEGO sets are all about building and also taking apart, right? Well, the 75313 AT-AT breaks that norm in a cheeky way. Some of the pieces in this set fit together so snugly that taking them apart without getting a bit crafty can be quite the challenge. I mean, just look at this thing. Next though is the 7190 Millennium Falcon. Let's rewind to 2009 because that's when LEGO introduced these things called Technic frames. They're like versatile building blocks that help make models sturdy and cool looking. But here's the catch, because once you snap one of these bits together, they might not want to come apart without a bit of a tussle. And imagine this scenario. Someone is putting together the 7190 Millennium Falcon set and suddenly realizes that they missed adding a couple of pieces. Oopsie daisy, because now these missing bits show up towards the end of the build, and here's what they're gonna have to do. Flip back through the instruction booklet to track down where those sneaky pieces go, gently take the model apart just a tad like a puzzle midway solved, then fit those missing pieces back in their rightful spots, carefully reassemble the whole thing, keeping their fingers crossed of course, and of course add the final touch. Oh, and guess what? They've got photos to show where the instructions went a bit wonky too. The inventory page missed listing those important pieces. Sneaky, right? Qui-Gon Jinn. Remember Qui-Gon Jinn, that LEGO character or Star Wars character? In 2007, he got a style upgrade, and his minifigure had a fresh torso design showing off his brick yellow tunic and a bit of his brown shirt around the neck. And check this out, even his utility belt got a makeover to match the movie's look better. Down to his legs, yep, they match the color theme too. Now, here's the cool tidbit. LEGO switched from yellow to flesh-colored skin for some characters, and Qui-Gon Jinn joined the club. His head and hands got a new shade to match, and his face print didn't change much, except his facial hair got a slightly lighter brown shade. Oh, and in one set, he ditched the usual hair for a reddish brown hood, a different look for sure. He always carried a cape and a green green lightsaber, though the hilt went from shiny silver to a more subtle medium stone gray. There was even a funny mix-up where he actually ended up with Obi-Wan Kenobi's head in one batch of sets, but they quickly fixed that up, and yeah, I was pretty cursed when that happened. 21303 Wally. 2015 was all about the buzz around the 21303 Wally set. Everyone was talking about it, but not all the chatter was positive. It's a bit of a bummer because the set is super impressive, but it had a design hiccup. You see, Wally's neck had 4 joints, which sounds awesome, right? 3 of these joints will let you move his head up and down, while the 4th will let you swivel it side to side. But that swivel joint wasn't quite the team player, and it didn't quite have enough friction to hold the head in place. Instead of staying put, it kind of just flopped around, making it harder to strike those epic poses that, you know, we all love to do with our Lego things. So yeah, it's a little bit cursed at times. I mean, if you look at it from like this angle. Steamboat Willie. Fast forward to 2019, and Lego Ideas brought us something exciting, the Steamboat Willie set. Now, if you were sharp-eyed, you might have noticed something funky because it was labeled as set 24 in the Ideas line, which is the exact same number as the Flintstone set, and yeah, whoops, Lego goofed up. They admitted their excitement got the better of them, and they accidentally slapped the wrong number on the Steamboat Willie packaging. It should have been number 25, not number 24, but no worries though, because they fixed it for all the future sets. But if you are a collector who loves those tiny little details, know that the first batch of these sets still carried that little numbering hiccup on the box, so you could always go out and try to find one. 75053 The Ghost. Now, do you remember the set The Ghost? Well, back in its original release, the Canon Jarrus minifigure had the wrong hair color. Yup, they did goof up the hair, but fear not though, because they did fix it and made sure that now it sports the accurate hair color that it should have. And guess what? That original incorrect version has now become quite the rarity, meaning it's pretty rare to find and could be worth a lot of money. The Jazz Club set. If you're building this set, don't freak out when you hit the end of the bag 12 and there are no pieces left. Yeah, I'm not joking. They really cursed this one up. Despite Lego's usually strict checks, the occasional error slips through, and in this case, the instructions for the Jazz Club set goofed up a bit. You're supposed to keep building for a couple more steps after bag 12, but you're left empty-handed. Don't worry though, because you're not missing the pieces, because here's the deal. Those steps should have been in the next set of bags. All the pieces you need are in there, so just open the next bags and start building from steps 332 and 333. Oh my god, that could have ended badly. It seems the original plan was to have those steps in the bag 12, but somehow the change didn't make it to the instruction booklet, and that went out with the set on January 1st. Thankfully though, this doesn't mess up the actual building process for this Lego set. But yeah, just try not to get confused when you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? The Republic Gunship. Back in 2021, the folks at the Lego group noticed a little hiccup with their first batch of the Republic Gunship set box art. Instead of the proper Republic logo, the initial run of the boxes showed the Imperial logo. Like, they literally just did a 180. Now, these logos are pretty similar, so it is a little bit easy to mess up, unless you're not a real Star Wars fan, given the storyline transition from the Clone Troopers to the Stormtroopers in Revenge of the Sith. But if you are a true Star Wars fan at heart, you'll spot the mix-up in a heartbeat. Ivan, I'm not even gonna try to say his last name, the senior marketing manager at Lego, stepped up and spilled the beans to Brick Fanatics and other Lego fan media. He revealed that the team was on it and already working on an update to fix the packaging and instructions for the set. But hold your horses, because these revived sets won't hit the shelves anytime soon, which doesn't really make sense, but we're gonna move on anyway. The Dark Trooper Attack. Fast forward now to 2022, and the Lego group once again caught wind of some concerns. This time, it was about the packaging for the Fresh Face 75324 Dark Trooper Attack set. The general response to this Mandalorian-themed set was quite positive actually, especially considering its wallet-friendly price tag and the awesome inclusion of 3 Dark Troopers and a new Luke Skywalker minifigure. But of course, keen-eyed fans are always on the lookout, and they spotted a small whoopsie on the box art for the new set. Now, despite the initial confusion, the Dark Troopers nestled inside the box are indeed identical to the ones that graced the previous summer's Imperial Light Cruiser set, even though they might not seem that way at first glance. So now you might be wondering if these initial edition boxes for the Dark Trooper Attack sets would go on to actually become rare collector's items. So I'm here to tell you that that didn't happen. The Technic Ferrari Daytona SP3. Once again in 2022, the 42143 Technic Ferrari Daytona SP3 hit the scene, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. Racing Brick, who managed to snag an early set for review, noticed a bunch of issues with it. Now, Lego did make some updates to the digital instruction manuals to fix up some of these problems, but not all of them got sorted out. Before you kick off your own building adventure with this set, let me give you the rundown on some of the glaring errors and fixes that might affect your journey, especially if you're relying on the printed instruction manuals that come with the set. On step 88, the initial instructions seem to have missed a crucial panel that would have shown how those 2 orange wave selectors should be positioned before you slide into the green beam. That's a pretty important detail since it directly impacts how the gearbox functions. This step had reviewers scratching their heads too, but worry not, because LEGO caught this one and fixed it in the digital instructions. So just go on their website and try to find that. But now on step 104, there's a little oopsie that hasn't been fixed yet by LEGO, and in step 104, there's a bit of a mix-up where the wrong element is highlighted. It's like the manual is almost playing a game of spot the difference, but it's not a game we want to play during our builds. And you know how sometimes you end up with extra pieces after completing a build? Well, in this case, there are two black fairings that might be longing around. However, though, Racing Bricks Review came to the rescue once again, because those fairings should actually be attached to the red axes peeking out at the back of the car near the underside. Mistakes are part of the game, though, we all know that, and even the talented teams behind the sets of the Ferrari Daytona SP3 can slip up from time to time, or even other LEGO sets. From packaging mix-ups with the USC Republic gunship to the Marvel mechs encountering issues earlier that year, 2022 just wasn't exactly LEGO's smoothest run, you know what I mean? Now, let's talk price, because the Technic Ferrari Daytona SP3 set comes in at a whopping $399.99, and it's an official licensed Ferrari product too. And with so many slip-ups and a partially crucial one with the gearbox instructions, it's a bit hard to believe that it's this set with all the problems. Like, it's kind of disappointing. The Liber R9800 excavator. This time, once again, going back to 2019, the LEGO Technic Liber R9800 excavator was unleashed onto the scene, boasting an impressive 4,108 pieces. This mammoth Technic set stands tall at over 15 inches, stretching 25 inches in length and extending 10 inches in width. What sets this behemoth apart, though, are its 2 smart control units and even the 7 motors. But don't be fooled, though, because the challenge here lies in making sure every specific component fits precisely to make the excavator function like a well-oiled machine. And of course, brace yourself for an extra layer of complexity, as you'll need to download a mobile app to actually ensure that everything is operating smoothly during the build. It's a little bit cursed, because how many sets do you actually need a mobile app plus the instructions to make sure it works out? It's kind of weird, but I guess it's worth it with this set. Ghostbusters Firehouse Headquarters. For those who prefer the allure of movie-themed sets, the Ghostbusters Firehouse Headquarters might be more your speed. This iconic set, part of the Ghostbusters series, flaunts a staggering 4,634 pieces. Standing at 14 inches in height, 9 inches in width, and 14 inches in depth, this replica packs a punch in its size. But despite its seemingly straightforward appearance, building this set is like solving a puzzle. The challenge, though, it's crafting the intricate segments within the building structure, as you have to work on recreating the various rooms of the Ghostbusters headquarters. Oh, and don't forget the fun task of arranging the array of accessories and spooky elements throughout the building. But yeah, basically, no pun intended, some of the instructions in this set can be a little bit cursed. I mean, as you see. The Tower Bridge. A set with 4,295 pieces might seem enticing, but it does come with its fair share of intricacies. The real challenge here is deciphering the slightly different shades of the beige colored bricks that make up this iconic structure. And it doesn't stop there, because keeping those towers upright and ensuring that the drawbridge mechanism functions smoothly can make you feel like you're managing a real bridge construction project. The Tower Bridge is a testament to the complexity and craftsmanship that goes into these expert level sets, and it can be a little bit hard, I mean, to do this thing. The Lego Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle. Bro, I feel like there's always so many Harry Potter things. For those who like a touch of magic in their builds, there is the Lego Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle. I think it's pretty obvious. This set lets you actually recreate the iconic schools, Great Hall, moving staircases, and the classroom themselves. But wait, because there is more. With a staggering 6,020 pieces, this set is a true challenge for even the most seasoned builders. And guess what? Placing the stickers can be quite the test of patience and also precision. However, these little details add personality and character to the school's facade. And upon completion, the Hogwarts Castle stands tall at over 22 inches in height, stretching 27 inches in width, and even extending 16 inches in depth. But yeah, with this thing, it's pretty much just stickers. It's just like a sticker way to hell. That was a terrible joke. Back to the Star Wars Millennium Falcon. Earlier, I mentioned a very specific issue that one person had, but the Millennium Falcon in general is one that's a very cursed build. With 2 versions available, a classic and modern style, this set will keep you busy for more than just the weekend. I mean, I took a month to build like the big UCS, you know, the one that costs $1,000. Anyways, and considering the jaw-dropping 7,541 pieces and a bunch of minifigures, building the Millennium Falcon becomes an audacious journey in itself. The challenge lies in the complex configuration of hidden floor storage and multiple detachable components that need to come together seamlessly. And this is more than just snapping bricks together, because it's a test of your commitment and determination to conquer a galactic build of grand proportions, and to also not mess up, because you can mess up. The Colosseum Lego set. Everybody knows this one. Fancy recreating an ancient wonder? Well, say hello to the Colosseum from the 2020 Lego Expert Creator Series. This colossal structure isn't just about the sheer quantity. It's also about the meticulous placement of every single brick shade to bring the architectural marvel to life. The challenge lies in maintaining the authenticity of the Colosseum's columns while ensuring stability and structure as well. It's like being an architect and a builder all at once. And once completed, this model amphitheater stands over 10.5 inches tall, stretching 20.5 inches in width, and even extending 23.5 inches in depth. But with this set, once again, the struggle and where the curse part comes in is just all the small details. I mean, oh boy, look at this, and this. If you mess it up, good luck. You might just need to buy a new set. The Titanic set. Next up, a grand endeavor that's as impressive as the namesake, the LEGO expert creator Titanic. With a jaw-dropping 9,090 parts, this ship isn't just a set. It's also a project that demands dedication. With its high degree of compartmentalization, building the Titanic isn't just for the faint of heart. The complexity is real with this set. I'm not joking. You need to ensure that the propellers and the rudders work just as they should, and brace yourself for a journey that will take over 48 hours to complete. Yeah, this set is no joke, but in the end, you'll have a striking centerpiece measuring 18 inches in height, 17 inches in width, and a whopping 54 inches in length. And just like the Colosseum with this one, you just can't mess up. I mean, and some of the instructions on this set can be very cursed. It's almost like the set where the ship's in the bottle and you just have to flood it with like little pieces. Like if I can put up a picture, I will right here, but yeah, it's a little cuckoo. The world map. I think the most cursed challenge lies in the LEGO Art World Map. Released in 2021 with a staggering 11,695 pieces, this is not just building. It's a masterclass in color differentiation and subtle shades. This set definitely demands a keen eye for detail and a knack for deciphering nuances. And as you place each piece and each individual brick, you're essentially mapping out your visual travel bucket list. And the world map is definitely a work of art that will most certainly leave you scratching your head more often than not. The Tower Bridge 10214. Now this one with a whopping 4,295 pieces, this LEGO creator expert model is a tribute to the iconic London landmark. I feel like everybody knows what this is, but let's be real, this ain't your average weekend project. This build is all about the finessing, because you're gonna find yourself wrestling with tiny pieces to just create those subtle suspensions that keep the bridge standing tall. And those spires on the bastions, well, attach them just right or risk the height of imbalance throwing off the whole vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's been charming folks along the River Thames since 1894, and bringing this magic to life requires some advanced building wizardry. The real test of your skills, though, does come down with the functional drawbridge, and that's where the set is cursed with the instructions. Because yeah, you heard that right. It opens up just like the real Tower Bridge to let ships pass through. Like, what else would it be for? Plus, there are some rare bricks in this mix that might just have you scratching your head unless you've got your trusty building instruction booklet by your side. In those 4 adorable miniature vehicles, the red London double-decker bus, the green car, yellow truck, and black taxi, they're not just for show, because you're gonna need some skills to make sure that everything stays steady, because nobody wants a wobbly tower bridge, right? LEGO creator expert 10261 roller coaster. When it comes to tackling the LEGO creator expert roller coaster set, many folks find themselves facing a mix of excitement and also a little bit of fear. And it's not because the set lacks appeal, quite the contrary actually. It's because of the colossal size. I mean, this thing is absolutely massive and it hasn't changed. And unpacking the roller coaster reveals a total of 11 sets of bags. The building process is also divided into 2 halves, with bags 1 through 5 forming the first half and bags 6 through 11 handling the second. Each half comes with its own instruction booklet too, which is a pain on its own. And anyone that's built a set with multiple instruction booklets, you know dang well what I'm talking about. Instead of unique printed bricks too, there's also a collection of over a dozen stickers used in various signs around the amusement park. It's a bit of a bummer, but by now, most LEGO enthusiasts have come to expect this sticker situation in many sets. The major hiccup though is that the instructions can be a bit of a head scratcher at moments. With nearly 24 white pillars protruding from the base, distinguishing one from another can be tricky at times. I mean, just look at this image. That's pretty confusing to me, dog. The milling machine. You've got this LEGO artist named Arthur Sakek who went all out and put together the 360 milling machine using mainly LEGO bricks. Now, brace yourself because this contraption is like a 3D object factory. It takes instructions from a computer and turns them into real-life objects. And guess what? The majority of this machine is pure LEGO goodness, except for one small part, obviously the metal drill. And everything else, well, yep, you've guessed it. It's all LEGO. And it's probably a little bit cursed with how it operates. I mean, I wouldn't want to try and build it. Endor. Okay, let's talk about Star Wars and LEGO once again. These two have had some serious bromance going on for a while now. I think everybody knows that. But from sets to video games, they've teamed up to bring the Star Wars universe to life in the LEGO brick form. And guess what? They've tackled Endor too. You know that iconic Star Wars location? Well, it's cool to see that fans take a swing at creating Endor in LEGO style. And you know what's fun? Fans don't have to worry about the same commercial stuff that official toy makers do. They could just let their creativity run wild, especially when it's something as as colossal as Star Wars. But now you're probably wondering, well, how does this have cursed instructions? I'm not too sure. The Bengal tiger. We're not stopping yet because there is a captivating Bengal tiger sculpture that's just jaw-dropping. Someone with some serious LEGO skills took the vibrant hues of the orange and merged them with the blacks and whites to create this stunning masterpiece. And guess what? It's giving off some major Jungle Book vibes. I mean, you can just look at this thing and this thing, you can practically hear the wildlife. And heck, I mean, there's even a sparkle of Aladdin's pet tiger in there. But alright, since I know you're wondering, if you look at the actual miniature version of this Bengal tiger LEGO set, you're gonna find some cursed images because what the heck is that? The LEGO Skull motorbike. Brace yourself for this one because this LEGO set is a time capsule from 2011, the OG days of the Ninjago sets. But guess what, once again, because they've sprinkled a whole load of incorrect artwork from that era all over it. Picture this, the Skull motorbike, the iconic ride, but with some major artistic mishaps. Check out these images and you'll spot things that are just way off. In one of the main product images, they literally just slapped on Fracjaw's armor piece with those fiery red spikes on the sides for the top of a minifigure here. But guess what, once again, because that's not what you actually get in the set. The right armor should have been those gray ones, but someone decided to jazz it up with some wrong pieces too. Just awesome. And guess what, once again, because this trend just keeps on going. It's like they put this set through an artwork blender and just let it go wild. The icing on the cake, well, one particular image really gets under my skin because they flipped Chopov, the bony dude, the wrong way. His torso's facing the wrong direction and his armor is all over the place. Even the bottom part with his printing is flipped like it's trying to play mirror games. Like, come on, bro, seriously? Now, if you're rolling your eyes just a bit, well, just take a peek at any of the instruction manuals from 2011. You know, the golden age of Ninjago, you know, when everyone wanted the gold Lloyd figure, and you know what I'm talking about. You'll spot this set making its appearances there, and guess what? It's got wrong artwork everywhere, even back then. Lego table. So, there's this architectural design firm, ABGC, chilling in Dublin, and they scored a gig to revamp the digs of an up-and-coming agency. And guess what? Among the recommendations, there's this mind-blowing boardroom table on the menu. We're talking about a whopping 4x9 feet of Lego extravaganza. This beast demanded a jaw-dropping 22,740 Lego bricks, and get this, they didn't even use any cheat codes. No glue, no nothing, just nothing. The coolest part too, well, the crew rolled up with their sleeves and built it themselves, so no fancy master builders or contractors involved at all. The client wanted playful but not juvenile, and trust me, this table hits that sweet spot. I could only imagine how cursed it was trying to get this thing to look the way it does. Lego USS Missouri. Next, anyways, which Lego set did you find the most cursed to build, and which instructions just like got you saying, yeah, nah? Let me know in the comments, and of course, subscribe!